ladies and gentlemen, to Fan Appreciation Month here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a sci-fi film from 1978. That movie is Starcrash. Now, I really wish I knew more about Starcrash than I actually do. But here are the few scant things I do know about it. I do know that Starcrash here is one of the numerous sci-fi films that came out in the late 70s that were trying to cash in on the popularity of Star Wars. I know that much. I know it stars David Hasselhoff. And I also know that it was released by Roger Corman's studio, which was New World Pictures. That is the only reason why it's got the Roger Corman's Cult Classics banner on the Blu-ray. That, guys, is honest to fuck every detail I know about this movie. I know nothing else in terms of detail, plot, props, special effects, nothing. I know bugger all beyond the few details I have given you. I have no earthly clue if this movie is going to be any good at all. I certainly do have my hopes, but the only way I'm going to find out, guys, if this sucker is any good at all, is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Starcrash. So, upon being sentenced to hard labor at some weird prison planet, Stella is still forced to wear the weird leather space fucking bikini that she was caught in. So they don't have, like, uniforms on these prison, planets. You're just forced to work in whatever goofy-ass clothing you were found in. Honest to God, guys, it just looks weird. Like, everybody else is fully clothed, and then Stella Star is, like, walking around in almost nothing. It looks really fucking weird. Alright, guys, this is going to bother me. I have to ask. Is there a reason why the robot has a redneck accent? Nobody else in this film has any kind of discernible accent to speak of, yet that fucking robot sounds as if he should be rustling up cattle for the county fucking rodeo. What the hell is going on there? Was he deliberate? I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, meta-wise, within the proper, like, Starcrash universe. Was he programmed to have that kind of an accent? Do they program all of their police, robots to have that kind of a fucked up accent? If so, that is incredibly messed up. I'm sorry, guys. It was just sort of throwing me off, and I just needed to vent a little bit. Okay, guys, I'm just gonna say this right now. I find it a little bit weird that Acton apparently gains powers as the plot needs him to. Originally, he was just able to, like, conjure up, like, shapes and shit with his hands. Now, suddenly, he's laser-proof. He's able to deflect lasers. And he can generate heat from his hands and is slowly thawing out Stella. I'm wondering exactly where the limits to his powers are, because right now, if he just continues to gain powers as the plot fucking demands, it's gonna make him a ridiculously boring fucking character. Alright, guys, I was just thinking about something, and I understand that this has nothing to do with the scene going on right now, but it just sort of dawned on me. So, amongst his numerous powers, it was revealed that Acton can see into the future. If he could see into the future, why the fuck did they go on this long-winded quest? If he could see into the future, then he would know that this was the planet that they had to go to. Why the hell did they even bother stopping at the first two planets? Why the hell did he have to wait for Thor to show that he's a traitor? Why the hell did El have to be killed by a caveman? Why? If he could see into the future, none of this shit would have happened. We could have gotten to this point a hell of a lot sooner, and the movie might have made a touch more sense. It just sort of dawned on me. See, this right here, guys, is why you don't give characters new wild-ass powers whenever the fuck you want. It builds plot holes like this, and that plot hole is going to dig at me for the rest of this fucking movie. I can just feel it. Wait a second. So the Emperor's flagship has the ability to stop the flow of time, Yet it doesn't seem to affect anybody on the planet bathed in the beam's rays. Then how the shit is it slowing down time? Or correction, stopping time. It full-blown was supposed to stop the flow of time. If it's supposed to stop the flow of time, that means nothing within the beam would move. That means that the Emperor and Stella and the Prince and everybody else should not have been able to have left the planet as long as they're bathed in that fucking beam. And is there a reason why they had to be on the planet? Never mind. I am not going to even... no, I'm not going to pick at that any further. It is plenty stupid as is. And if I just think about it more, it's just gonna wind up being stupider and stupider the more I fucking think about it. I'm just gonna leave it be. Well, guys, that was Starcrash. Let's shut that off. So I'm just gonna say this right now before I start talking about this proper. The last 20 minutes of this movie made no motherfucking sense at all. I tried to make heads or tails of it, and no. There's no way you can make sense out of that shit. It was literally mountains and mountains of noise and not much else. There was tons of action, but there was no real weight to said action. Alright, a lot of that has to do with the writing. I'm going to say, guys, right now, that this movie, even though its story is not the most unique in the world of science fiction, it is at least a rather interesting story, especially in the sense that it does take a rather common trope and turns it on its fucking ear. You see, because normally, guys, you think Empire, evil. Not so in this movie. In this case, the Empire are actually the good guys. And they're fighting against a single lone count who apparently has a doom fortress in the middle of space and has a doomsday weapon buried inside of a planet. The doomsday weapon is so large that you need to house it in a planet because Count Zartharn is not going to be, topped by, Vader and his shitty little fucking star. No, no. You are going to need something a little bit bigger than a moon to hold, Zartharn's weapon, which isn't even his real ultimate weapon if the last 20 minutes are anything to go by. That, I think, guys, is where this movie really falters, is the fact that nothing is ever constant. Okay, like they're constantly throwing curveballs at you, and you don't know why. So they are trying to find. So early on, Stella and Acton are trying to find the Emperor's son, and they're trying to find Zartharn's doomsday weapon, which is buried inside of a planet. Even though Acton can look into the future and can do all this other shit, apparently he can't because it's against the law to use your future sight, even though that's exactly how he knew that a member of their party was a fucking traitor. So he used his future sight in order to stop this traitor from killing them, even though that goes against the very law he just said that it would violate. That kind of shit, too, is what bugs me, is that there's, these weird, plot holes in there that you can drive a bus through. But anyway, back onto the whole shit, that changes, not counting Acton's bottomless array of powers. So they get to the planet, and the doomsday weapon is down in the fucking core. The Emperor shows up, has this stupid beam that apparently can stop time, but I guess only for things that are not fucking organic. Well, that's why you can leave the ship. That is the only explanation I have for the whole stop fucking time bullshit. Then Zartharn announces that wasn't even his big weapon. He does have a doomsday weapon on inside of his fortress, and he's going to destroy the Imperial homeworld with it. And you would think that all fucking hope is lost. And then the Emperor's like, no, wait, because we have a floating city, and that has totally enough power to wipe out Zartharn's fortress. So why we didn't send the floating city first instead of, sending a bunch of little tiny ass fighters that get shot down easily, is beyond me. I do not know why they didn't just send the floating city if the floating city was strong enough to take out the fucking stronghold. There's a lot of shit though, guys, which does that with this movie. You know, outside once more. I mean, we have that. We have like the constant like curveball bullshit. You know, and of course when it's not that, it's dead characters are being brought back. So it's like, hey Stella, do you happen to remember your do you happen to remember your redneck robot friend? The one who the cavemen killed on the planet that was housing the Doomsday Weapon? Oh, well, we fixed him. He's back now. Don't ask. He's just back. Who cares? He's here. Shut up. Be happy. You know, it makes no sense for Elle to be back. It's just he's here for the sake of being here. Because apparently David Hasselhoff could not be fucking asked to do anything of merit in this movie outside of just sit around and pout. So you needed somebody else to be Stella's, you know, partner as she pilots the floating city towards Zartharn's weird hand-shaped fortress. Honest to God, guys, just the writing in that final act made literally zero fucking sense. And I would probably, and you know, that is sort of compounded by the fact that the writing is kind of flimsy everywhere, but it literally feels like as soon as they find the prince, the writers are like, I don't fucking know, and they just give up. So I'm just going to pretend that the rest of that shit means nothing. I do want to focus on the rest of the writing, because everything up until they get onto that planet is also a little bit shaky. We have characters who are here, and they totally have names, but they don't have any personality to speak of. I couldn't tell you the first detail about Stella Star as a character, outside of the fact that she apparently carries a vast fucking wardrobe no matter where in the hell she goes, because she changes her outfit like 5 times over the course of this fucking movie. But apparently when she was captured by the police and was sent to a prison planet, all that she had was essentially a skimpy leather bathing fucking suit. No, I do not totally know why. I don't think I'll ever understand the point to that outside of just trying to titillate the fucking viewer. Just nothing in this movie really makes a whole lot of sense, and once more, our characters are just that shallow. Stella is just the chick. Acton gets new fucking powers and new weapons as the plot warrants. At no time did Acton ever hint that he was carrying a lightsaber until he needed to start slicing up cavemen. All of a sudden, he has his fucking lightsaber. Wow. And the lightsaber only gets used one other time, and that's when Acton has to fight against a pair of stop motion robotic skeletons, which looked okay. That's more about special effects. I'll get to special effects in just a sec. But still, as a character, Acton has no personality outside of being essentially the power fucking dump when you need something that's going to bring progress to the story. Elle, this fucking robot. The only bit of personality the only character trait I picked up from him is that he sounds like he's from the deepest, most fucking bred part of Texas. Okay, just there's no other personality to him. And I am still not entirely convinced that the character is supposed to be a robot, because they constantly forget to put that fucking filter over his voice that's supposed to make him sound like a fucking robot. But now that though is more of a sound mix issue. I'll totally get the sound mix. But guys, the writing here is a fucking mess, which is sad considering the fact that the premise really wasn't that bad. It's just how they handled it was by far the worst thing you could ever do in terms of handling this fucking story. I would probably not have noticed that as much if the acting was any good. I will say, though, that this acting is that special kind of cheesy, shitty acting that actually is almost charming. And it actually kind of made the first 3/4 of this movie kind of fun to watch. Because nobody put in any fucking effort. Even seasoned veteran actors like Christopher Plummer. who normally can do anything, who normally could sell you anything in terms of acting, he looks absolutely embarrassed as fuck to be in this movie for the short amount of time that he is in this movie. And he phones it in. And my God, when Christopher Plummer phones it in, it is some of the best shit you will ever see, and it will put a smile on your face. So even when he's not even trying, Christopher fucking Plummer is able to entertain, and that's awesome. Nobody else in this movie knows how to fucking act. David Hasselhoff is doing what David Hasselhoff always does, which is just rattle off fucking lines with literally no fucking feeling. Hasselhoff has never known how to act, folks. I'm just gonna say that straight up. And the rest of the cast puts in no effort at all, and my God, it is just this glorious disaster of acting that just... It really is one of the few reasons to possibly watch this, is to just laugh at how bad the acting is. And once more, throughout the first 3/4 of the movie, the bad acting is so charming that it actually makes this rather shoddy script almost bearable. And then that last quarter of the film shows up, and all logic and sense and give a fuck was tossed out the fucking window, and we're left with a slow plotting mess that is just not that much fun to watch. But anyway, moving on from acting, let's talk about the special effects. If there's any one reason I would give somebody to sit down and try to watch this movie, it would be for the special effects. The special effects are not fucking amazing. I am in no way about to say that. However, considering the film's budget, this movie was made on a budget of $4 million, and considering the time period, considering 1978, what is here looks really solid. Special mention has to go to all of the stop motion shit which is in here. And my God, there is a lot of stop motion. I was not expecting that. What is here in terms of stop motion, it's weird. And when I say that, what I mean is, at one point, the Amazons on one of the planets send out this gigantic robot in order to chase after Stella and Elle. And the robot, it's moving in such a weird fashion because you can actually see as the leg is animated forward, and then the fucking ankle is animated a little bit, and then the foot comes down, and it's very stiff and jerky and weird, and it is never going to match the stop motion seen by, say, like Ray Harryhausen or Rankin Bass or Charles fucking Band. It's never gonna match up with that. It's just so jerky and odd that, once more, it's fucking charming to see. So we do have that. And our spaceships look awesome as long as the camera's not ultra close to them, because there was no effort to make these ships look natural. So there was no attempt of, say, like dry fucking brushing them and trying to make them look a bit more weathered and aged. So they all look like bright white sterile plastic. And when you get really close, you can still see the globs of model fucking glue on most of these ships, which is kind of cheesy and stupid. Speaking also of ships, it would have been nice if during the big ship fucking combat sequences, they didn't light everything in just such a way that the fucking rods that are holding the ship in place weren't so fucking visible. That happens so often, it is not even funny. And on top of all of that, though, we also have space, and space itself in a lot of these shots looks really cool. It looks really like bright and colorful and psychedelic at times. This movie's got a whole lot of that going on to it. It has a whole lot of fucking like psychedelic weirdness going on, and it looks really cool. And it actually, once more, is kind of sort of charming, and it actually makes the movie a little bit more tolerable. Unfortunately, you cannot save a bad movie with really decent special effects. So, even though I can talk about how the special effects are amazing considering the budget, that still doesn't stop the fact that the movie itself, in terms of story, is borderline unwatchable unless you're watching it specifically to laugh at it, and you're going to stop laughing about 1 hour into this 90-minute film. So, let me see what else. Sound mix. Oh, God, fuck me dead. I gotta talk about that fucking sound mix. At least 3/4 of the dialogue in this film is dubbed in. And it's poorly dubbed in. Where you can clearly tell that everything is dubbed in. Now, out of that 3/4 of dubbed in dialogue, maybe only about a third of it actually matches what is being said. And even then, the voice does not match the person. So you have Count fucking Zartharn, who basically is about as fat as I am, wearing this like garbage bag looking leather outfit. He looks really kind of wimpy, and they dub in this growly, evil, sounding voice. And so then he sounds like this. Except it doesn't look like it would come out of that face. And it looks so odd. It especially looks odd when he has to laugh. Yes, when he laughs, it looks so awkward because the dubbed-in laughter is not matching the mouth, the actual, body language for the fucking laugh, and it's going to throw you off. But yeah, there is so much dubbed in dialogue, and it's poorly dubbed in. And the shit is poorly mixed in with the background noise. If characters are supposed to be fucking robots, oftentimes they will not put the robotic filter in. So L oftentimes just basically sounds like some Texan who wandered onto the set. And then they kind of sort of remember occasionally to put it in there, and it's like, oh yeah, he's totally a fucking robot. And there are other robots in the film too, where they don't do that. Or when Hasselhoff's got this energy shield mask thing, and it's supposed to give off this real booming echo, and it only does it once. Sound mix is so fucked up. And again, it's almost fucking charming, and it's almost worth trying to watch this thing, if for no other reason than to fucking laugh at it. Guys, when all is said and done, Starcrash here is a total train wreck. If you can find it to watch anywhere, I'm talking on Netflix, or if somebody's uploaded it onto fucking YouTube, or if you've got a video store around for whatever reason and there's actually a copy sitting there, or if it runs on cable at some point, by all means check it out. But to purchase the thing, to actually own a physical copy, no. There's just, no. This thing here, guys, is totally a fucking curiosity. It is absolutely worth seeing once. I do not believe it is worth seeing multiple times. I'm totally happy that I got a chance to see it. I was totally able to laugh at it, and the plot holes were enough to make me want to just break down and fucking cry. But still, that's totally fine. The movie isn't terrible. It's just not good enough to keep, and that's really saying a lot. So guys, rent it, download it, watch it, or fucking watch it off of a streaming service. Do anything. Just, you probably are going to want to do that before you purchase this thing, because I'm not sure if you are going to be really into it. Because mind you guys, I have a high tolerance for cheesy, stupid horse shit, and this movie's a little bit too much even for me. So that should be your fair warning right there. Now, because it's Fan Appreciation Month, Starcrash came off the Amazon wishlist. The person who sent it in was August, and I would love to give August a proper shout out, but I was never given a, YouTube channel or a web page or anything else. The only reason why I even know the name of the person who sent it in is because it was on the gift sheet thing that Amazon sends with most of the wish list items. So August, I thank you. You're fucking awesome. I was really curious about this movie. Unfortunately, it wasn't as good as I had hoped, but I wouldn't have known that if you hadn't have sent it in, and that is fucking awesome. I thank you dearly. Guys, I'm gonna say this right now. I was expecting a hell of a lot better. I was not expecting a masterpiece, but I was certainly expecting better than this. Now, because this thing's got the Roger Corman's cult classics label on top, I think I need to go watch a couple of Roger Corman's actual movies. I'm thinking I might go watch Death Race 2000, or Little Shop of Horrors, or A Bucket of Blood. You know, one of his better films. One of his good films. I'm going to go find one of those. I know for a fact I've got all three of those buried amongst my Blu-rays and my DVDs. I'm going to go find a couple of those. I'm going to go and give those a watch, and I'm going to pretend that this never happened. Wow, that was just... It's not often, guys, that a movie is so fucking cheesy that even I can't fucking tolerate it. That is almost mind-blowing. Anyway, Death Race 2000 awaits me. I'm going to go watch that. I'm going to have a hell of a lot of fun doing so. And with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.